Right.
Did you not hear me?
Let's do this tier list shit, huh? Let me see. I'm doing it notepad style though, okay? You guys can help me out. Okay, hold on. Let me attempt. S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, F tier. Is that usually how it's done? S tier, sunshine, process, A tier, metalworks, snake water, gully wash, sultry. I need other maps. B tier, maybe bagel. B is for bagel. D tier, viaduct. D tier, clear cut. B tier, granary. How do I rank the maps? Like how they play? Yeah, I mean, how the map plays, like how the flow is, how like gimmicky the map is, to me that lowers it on the tier list. How enjoyable it is to play as well.
Everybody got their fancy hats? Let's go!
Like you can't play Viaduct against a sniper and tell me that it's a good map, you know? You can't get forward held indefinitely and tell me it's a good map. Bagel's only slightly better because sniper's not as good. But Koth in general is trash. Clear cut, brain dead map, double high bombing. It's too big, honestly. But in general, Koth is inferior. B tier, Badlands. What are some other maps? Reckoner. Reckoner feels a little awkward, but it's not bad. In my opinion, it's like what maps are really good? That's S tier. What maps are solid? Like you'd be happy to play them any day of the week. Which maps are tolerable? That's B tier. And then anything below that is like, I don't want to play this. B tier, Villa. Explorer S tier. Honestly, my map has not been tested at a high level, so I can't rank it. It plays decently, you know, in sub pugs. That's all I can say so far, which would probably put it in the B tier. If it plays well with good players, then it would maybe, you know, strive to reach A tier. And then if it plays really well and people enjoy it and people are comfortable on the map, then it would, you know, reach S tier. Logjam, man base. Logjam, probably B tier. Asheville. Asheville's actually a map I miss playing in sixes. I would rather play that than Viaduct and Clear Cut for sure. Man base. I haven't played a lot of man base, I'll be honest. So it could be B or A, but probably B since it hasn't been rigorously tested and like developed. Kalinka. I liked that map, but I think the mid was not very good. So I'd probably put it in B. I also did not like the last or the lobby. It had some cool stuff, but I think it could have been refined for sixes more. What was that one map? Cardinal? Ooh. I really liked Cardinal. I mean, I helped design it. I think that this map was one version away from being A tier. Unfortunately, it never got updated. Propaganda. Honestly, I put Propaganda a little lower. It's too open and too big. I guess you could say the same. Like, there's flaws in these other maps up here, so I think that Propaganda falls in there. Most 5CP maps that have been played in the league will be B tier, in my opinion. Entropy, haven't played it. Cascade, haven't played it in 6s, but it would probably be down here. Cascade looks horrible for soldiers, in my opinion, and the sniper sightlines are also very good. At least Viaduct is relatively small, so aggression can be a viable strategy. On Cascade, being aggressive is very difficult because it's not designed for that. Vigil and Steel, I mean, those aren't 6s maps. Vigil might be B. Steel might be D. I guess I used to play Turbine. I suppose there is an F tier. Mario Kart. Oh, Gravel Pit. That's an old one. Gravel Pit. I guess I've also played like Stand-In. And what else have I played? That's weird. Cold Front / Warm Front. Probably in C tier. The last is Unpushable. Was Fastlane a thing? Yeah, in the early days. I guess like CP Well, Freight. They're all coming back to me. Why do I like Metalworks so much? It's a good map. I wouldn't say this is in any particular order. It's just the first map that came to mind for A tier. You know, they're kind of interchangeable in my opinion when it comes to like the order. But Metalworks is a good map. I don't know. It has a good it just has a different flow than some of the other maps. I think that it feels like a map that soldiers and demos can thrive on. That's not just a scout playground. So I appreciate that about it. I'm surprised I don't have Viaduct listed higher considering how dominant we are on the map for years. Well, let's be real. If you look at my win rate on any of these maps, it's going to be very high. Being good at a map does not make me like it. But for Viaduct, it's all about the fact that Sniper can ruin the entire map and that Koth is just not that good in general. What's bad about Freight? Remember playing it a few times back in the day? Biggest problem with Freight, in my opinion, is that it has a significant number of shutter doors in like major choke points. So the flow is really bad. It's difficult to push. Oh, I forgot about Yukon. When I thought about a shutter door, I immediately thought of Yukon. Yukon is not a good map either. At least D tier. Gullywash you would not call an A tier map. I mean, it has its flaws, but I think it plays well. That's just how I see it. Vanguard. That map is probably on par with Warmfront. It's a little too big, and pushing last is impossible. Because it's on the low ground compared to the high ground. Obscure. I don't like that map. Hold on, let's see. Is this bug happening? It is. Yay. You played a bunch of Viaduct pugs lately where Sniper Nooblets made it less fun. Yeah. I think that a lot of people are in denial about Koth and Viaduct. They pretend that it's good, but by all measures and by any like reasonable poll of opinions on like common scenarios, you would find that it's not good, right? Getting forward held for 3 minutes. Why would anyone enjoy that? Playing against a sniper and the entire map is off limits. Why would anyone enjoy that? Endless sacking and feeding. Why would anyone enjoy that? I don't know. It just seems like it's a map that is bad and people pretend it's not. Here, I can play you a quick riff. I've shared this one to a couple people, but it's the latest thing I made. Here, listen.
Everybody got your fancy hats? Let's go!
Oops. I cut it off, but yeah, you get the idea. How of those old maps was my favorite? One that's not played now. Which of the old maps is my favorite? Well, actually, one of my favorite maps of all time was Cold Front. But this was in an era of TF2 that was very primitive. So yeah, the game was a lot more, you know, waddly and slow. But I really liked the map because the team I played on at the time was very good at it. I just enjoyed playing Demo Man and kind of like all the different mid strats that you could construct on the map. I actually also did like Granary at one point for similar reasons. Back in the day, I just really liked making very like elaborate strats. Because I would be a demo man and I would know timings of things and I would shut down certain lanes. They would set up other plays and just like, I really like to kind of conduct, you know, like a puppet master, the whole mid. And I felt like Granary and Cold Front were maps that really thrived with that kind of stuff. And then I liked Process. Process was my favorite map for a long time. But then I came to like Sunshine. And now I kind of like Metalworks the most. I'll be honest. So my tastes have actually shifted around a little bit. What's Clear Cut doing in D tier? I just don't like it. Well, it's not that I don't like it. Clear Cut is a map that has a lot of issues. Number one, the map is huge. So it's like very punishing to take risks on the map because your spawns and rollouts take forever. You're always like fighting at super long range all the time. The cap is extremely slow, so you don't get as much like ability to use the cap as a like as a tool compared to Viaduct or Bagel, where baiting the cap is like crucial. On Clear Cut, you can't do that, so it just feels like there's fewer options. So then inevitably everything kind of devolves into double high bombing your soldiers. And I think that that is one of the most like uninteresting styles of TF2. That's basically it. The map with the train was better to watch, especially the med dropping Uber from the train. That was CP Freight. Yeah. The train was a wild card. It could block your like paths, or people could die to it if they're not paying attention. And there were strats that people would run where it's basically like AFK until the train comes, and then you use the train as part of your strat. Kind of silly. I don't know. I've always been kind of the mindset that environmental factors should not be in competitive, especially if they're random. I think you could get away with static environmental hazards like a death pit or something. I'm actually shocked that no Sixes map has a death pit. But, you know, competitive 66 is a game of tradition and dogma. It is not a game of, you know, well-reasoned rules and positions. It's kind of a cult if you really think about it. Like, for example, there's like a superstition, you know, the religion of competitive TF2. One of them is the superstition that snow maps are bad. It's just like a thing that people believe and have repeated for years and years and years. And another one is that you can't have death pits, can't have hazards. And I think that that idea could be challenged a bit. But that's when you start getting into like kind of the Valorant map design theory, where it's like, you know, you just do things because they're different. You just have each map has its own like new gimmick, and you know, it's just a different philosophy. I like TF2. I like the maps, but I can admit when we do things that are weird or arbitrary, you know. I would say prog
B4nny.
rock is my favorite. Mm-hmm.
Forgot about follower.
Oh,
Best
CP
map.
follower. Yeah, you're right. I'll put that firmly in the C tier or D tier
That's
actually.
bad.
It's pretty bad.
I just think it's interesting learning about all the old maps. Why they don't exist anymore.
Yeah. There's probably some others that I forgot about.
Coal
CP,
plant.
yeah, CP Asheville, Mainline. What else? Some deep cuts.
I remember there was a turbine. There's a turbine version that had a banana, like alley.
Oh yeah, that's Turbine Pros. Played in Europe for a while.
I personally like clear cut because of bad sniper angles and the forward hold's really weak.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised because I feel like you wouldn't like maps where you're getting double bombed constantly.
I mean, I don't, but what I hate more is maps where I'm getting sniped or have to hide behind a rock all
Yeah.
game because they're just
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
where I'm just getting forward held and buffing like 5 people who just explode in the doorway.
I think cost should just be removed entirely.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think it's bizarre that people kind of just look past the fact that forward holds kind of break the entire game type.
Yeah,
But you guys don't fuck with COD, then?
I don't.
not really.
I think
love-
it's boring.
What?
It's
all
shallow.
generic.
It's shallow. What was the map? Follower? Follower is basically Granary, but worse. The mid is enormous. The yard is basically unusable, though. That's one of the problems with the map, is that the yard on Granary can be held, but the yard on Follower cannot be held because it's a complete vertical, like, incline from mid to second, or like decline, I guess. So it's just like not viable to hold because you're just at height disadvantage. It's a very good sniper map, and then second has the same stalemates as Granary, basically. Last has some impossible sniper sight lines to break, and there's some gimmick sentry spots that are also basically unbreakable. So, in my opinion, Follower is a worse Granary. It's probably down here. What was the other map? Mainline. Mainline is an interesting map. I feel like most of you guys have never even seen these maps that I'm talking about now, but Mainline was a map that had viability, but it struggled to like find its identity. It also, unfortunately, was played at a time where double heavy, even double Natasha heavy, was legal. And that, I think, led to a bad gameplay experience. I think breaking last is basically impossible on Mainline, though. Because it has a shutter door that's very reminiscent of Freight. And then it has like a bunch of very small and confined doorways to enter. So, Mainline would probably go down here. Another map was Obscure. I don't know if I wrote it. Obscure. That mid was also enormous. I don't know. I felt like the pushes into second were also basically impossible. And the last had like a confusing weird lobby with like a underground backcap tunnel, I think, if I remember correctly. And it just had some weird shit all over the place, like doorways that were like raised up, a health pack floating in the skybox. I don't know. I feel like the map was just a little too big. Kind of reminiscent of Yukon in that regard. Obscure. I need to download Mainline. Can't believe I put Propaganda in B. You hate that map because it felt like a giant Amwad arena or Scout hell? Propaganda? My issue with Propaganda was actually more so that it was wide open skyboxes with really tall walls. This map started a trend that kind of got continued in Sultry, in my opinion, a little bit. But the reason I put Propaganda here is because a version of the map was created that addressed the issues slightly. Here, I can show you. Most of you don't know this map, but in my opinion, Propaganda mid is pretty bad. Like, there's not a lot of, like, great mid-range positions. And the roof is just awkward as hell to, like, flash and counter jump and stuff. But on this version of the map, I don't know, you can kind of see that it was starting to come together in a good way.
Let's get 'em.
Like, this door was added, which made it so that rotating was easier and playmaking was a little bit easier for flanks. And this scaffolding was also added so that you couldn't just insta-skybox bomb from choke, but you had to, like, fight for a little bit of space. So I felt like this kept some of the chaos of the map in check. Because the problem without that kind of thing is that your safe position to defend second is right here. Because you're just in range of double skybox bombs. Honestly, I even think that this one should get nerfed too. Like, I would be fine with them being able to jump off this wall, but having this one too, I feel like it's just too much. I'd probably actually delete the second story of this house. Just to reduce even more of the high bombs. But yeah. This one also might be a little bit too high. Because, like, this is in the mid-range, so you can get to fucking anywhere from this one. So I would probably also chop this one so that it's not a high bomb spot. Maybe, like, you could leave it as sort of like a semi-high bomb, or maybe just, like, chop it, I don't know, like here-ish. But, like, being able to C-tap up here and then jump again, like, it's uncontainable, in my opinion. But otherwise, I mean, like, there's a lot of viable routes to push. Like, look at how open this is. This is a big door. This is a big door. Like, there's a lot of playmaking options and, like, dry push options into last. This is a fairly large flank. So, like, busting through here and making plays is viable. This is a fairly large flank. And now with this mid, not great. Just because the roof is weird. This feels a little bit inaccessible a lot of the time. I don't know. What I honestly think would be better, you know, this is kind of like just a quick idea that came to mind, is that I feel like if this height was actually over here, like against this wall somehow, that might be better. Because then I feel like it'd be a little bit more viable to, like, come in this direction, because you could actually climb on top of something, whereas right here it's just a little bit inaccessible. So maybe making the platform kind of connected to this section that, like, walks up, I think that could be maybe a nice choice. And then it would also make pushing over here feel a little bit more comfortable, because it wouldn't be so fucking crowded. I don't know. These are just random ideas. Last and cave are cool. Main things are just like the mid and the main area of second. The main area of second. This area. The problem that I have is it just didn't see that much gameplay because of the skybox bombs. Like, it was just so inhospitable. You couldn't stay here because you just had to keep your medic at the back of the map. But keep in mind, this is when I was playing against a team that had Laz and Jay on Soldier. You know? So it was like, they're just double skyboxing nonstop. And it's like, this is cringe. Maps that force you to giga high bomb to initiate are good. They're not good, yeah. One-dimensional overvalue certain skills. I exactly agree with you. Yeah, that's basically why I didn't like the map too much. If it didn't have these changes that never got, you know, to see league play, unfortunately, I would have moved it down a tier. But I felt like these changes made the map way better. But yeah, sadly, it just got rotated out. And Never got to be played again. Also, the tank is funny. Do I have mainline? Oh, I have mainline. I don't know if this is the last version that was made, but a lot of you guys won't know this map. Okay, this is already strange. Like, I spawn, and then I have to take a 90-degree turn out of my spawn. Like, that's just weird. Oh, and then there's another room? Why? Okay, this one leads out into the open. Okay. So, yeah. You know, I was saying earlier, Natasha Heavy. Natasha Heavy was just, like, sitting here. And it's like, you can't do anything. There's nowhere to go. You're fucked. You're fucked. You're fucked. You have to just hide behind that rock. That's the only thing you could do, I guess. So, you know, this is very much like Freight. It's not really a viable route, but I think it's a cool route, to be honest. I like that at least it's a little bit sneaky. Maybe if this rail was, or like this wall was a little taller, it could be a little bit more viable as a flank route. Cause like the moment I open this, I'm visible to people at the spawn or people like standing here. So maybe just putting like a higher fence right here that you could not see through would be one way to make this route used. Because I kind of like seeing something like this. Could be like nice for, you know, you set up a bomb and you have a flank scout who like sneaks in like this, and then he can kind of like sack in and sneak around. I honestly like it. Things like this is like, Jesus, I have to walk through this fucking hallway. It's so narrow. I think that something that happened a lot in old maps is that there would be like entire segments of the map that are just completely separate from the rest of the map. Like, there's two halves to this map that are just so disparate. Look at this fucking labyrinth right here. Shit like this is a nightmare to clear for like a back cap, but imagine trying to push like an Uber through here and there's just like a soldier waddling in here. You're fucked. Like, this route is kind of insane. This would only be used if it's like both their soldiers are dead and you're trying to like sprint into last type thing. The second is interesting. I like the catwalk. Like, you know, there's some air shot potential here, but it's like, how are they going to rocket jump at you out of a shutter door and out of a tiny box? Like, it's not really going to happen. You're just going to like oppress them. There would need to be a little bit more space for them to take to like make this air shot stance be useful. But like, this is kind of cool. There's like a bridge here, you know, that could see some like contesting. But here again, another like really tight, narrow area. I think teams would like bunker their medic in here, and it's like, how the fuck are you gonna force this guy? You know, pretty difficult. I like this area. Like, this is cool. It's like an open valley, so this is kind of where you dry push. But look at how fucking steep this is. Actually insane. But the reason they had to make it so steep is because if it was more flat, a sniper could just come here and see all of second, and then you're fucked. So the steepness forces a sniper to like expose himself more in the mid-range. But imagine a sniper peeking here. Now you see deep into mid. So I don't know. Sniper sightlines probably were a big puzzle to be solved. This feels a little redundant. Like, look at this. This little hut, right? I like these huts. There's one of these on Gravel Pit, and I've always wanted to put one on one of my maps. But they use the exact same thing on Last. So it kind of feels like a little bit redundant, I guess. Like, you get the same little hut thing here. Like, I just walked through a shutter and now I have to get through the fucking hut of death. I actually almost made one of these on my map, Explorer, but I ended up making it a one-way. So it's kind of inspired there still, actually. Like, if you look at this, if you know my map, there's a very similar scenario with a window. But yeah, like, why is this here? There should be like more of a lobby here that you can like dry push out of. So like, this map could be salvaged, honestly. Oh, I think people used to hide like under here. I think a lot of maps are lacking in hiding spots. So I can kind of appreciate some of them here. And then like this lobby, again, look at this. It's the same thing. It's so wide. It's so wide and far apart. I just feel like it just doesn't flow that well. In a modern map, you'd probably see these connected more like, you know, maybe here at the furthest, or maybe even here. So they'd kind of like be able to fight together and like flank each other. I don't know. Used to enjoy how separate Diag and Yard were in Badlands when you were newer on Roamer, because you could fight flank v flank without the enemy heals rotating in. Yeah, it was definitely a staple of maps in that era. The flank being segmented. You see the same thing on Granary. But nowadays people just prefer, I guess, when there's a little bit more kind of team play rather than just having like two people on the other side of the map. There's kind of like a central area that has like some side areas. I don't know. But yeah, it's just a different theory. And then repushing mid, it's like, okay, this guy's on the train, so you're just fucked. This is like a no man's land to spam. And then here, same thing. How are you gonna repush this against this train? Same thing here. It's just a death zone. So not great options for pushing mid. At least on Granary, like you can enter through height. Then there's also kind of a wild card thing on this mid. There's a crate up here that has a health pack in it. So you could like jump in there and hide in there and maybe go for plays or distract or just jump behind. I don't know. The map has potential, but I think it's a little outdated, and I feel like there were a couple issues that are very apparent by modern standards. Like, I mean, look at this. I push into second, and I'm just in this flat ground, and I have nothing. Okay, I can jump on this crate, but what does that get me? It's like, I can jump on this crate. What does that get me? It's just too flat. There needs to be, like, for example, this hut probably should be enterable from the offense somehow. Or there should be like a stairwell that's like wrapping along the exterior of this that the offense can climb on. Like, imagine like a stairwell wrapping around the right side here. That could be kind of cool. Then I would actually feel like, okay, I push in here, I bully that guy off, now I'm like climbing up onto height. But at least there's something I can use. So yeah, I don't know. If only these ideas came to me in fucking 2010 when this map was played. Your team referenced this map as Sticky Trap Diffusal Simulator. Yeah, I remember spending a lot of time right here trying to deal with sticky traps. Oh man. So many corners to hide traps on. I think I would have enjoyed that back in the day when I was a demo main. But probably not so much anymore. What A tier is the closest to getting S tier in my opinion on my map tier list? Which map is the closest to getting S tier? Metal, Snake, Gully, Sultry. Honestly, for me, Metalworks. I think that's a hot take. But I think Metalworks, I enjoy playing more than any of these other three at the moment. Could attack defend work in sixes? It could. It's been played in the past. So you can see, for example, Gravel Pit. I played that. Actually, I used to play Dust Bowl. And oh, another map that I played was in competitive was Waste. That map, I should see if I have that one. This was played in ESEA Season 4. I remember because in ESEA Season 4, I was a open player. And I remember vividly studying demos of people playing this map. Dummy, I would study his demos. And Woot was another demo man that I watched playing this. AKA, what was his other name? Davis, I think. This map was made by Icarus. I feel like he made something else. What did he make? Icarus made Warmfront? Oh. Okay, the pug is happening. I'll load up Waste in a bit, though.